trans and non-binary events. My name is Jillian, and today's video is a little hard for me to be making. If you interacted with me on my online accounts on social media, you know that I am very active about wanting to spread awareness about invisible illness and disability because I struggle with that myself. I'm not going to go into details, but because I don't want to, but I have a number of things that affect me in different ways, so my life has changed drastically. I was first diagnosed when I was 7, so it's a long time now. And I want to talk a bit about disabilities / invisible illness around the holidays. I've noticed that a lot of able-bodied people do not seem to think that the holidays are any different for disabled people or people who have invisible illnesses, but that is very untrue. As you know, the holidays can knock everything out of whack for able-bodied people, like your routine, your school schedule, the weather, like your plans. It's all dependent on the season. Well, just like how those can be knocked out of whack, so can a person's control over their illness, or so can a person's limits. Like, for example, since more people are holding more parties and inviting more people to those parties for the holidays, the limits of dealing with people and of being social are much, much lower than they are at other times of the year. I know that for a fact because that's what happens with me. So, disabilities on the holiday. I do not have any visible disabilities. I mostly have immune system things and other things that are not visible, hence invisible disabilities and / illness. But I see a lot of disabled people who are visibly disabled. They get more recognition around the holidays and in general, but especially around the holidays because, like, you're gonna know snow is going to affect how a wheelchair user is going to go out and about for the day. But you might not know that the cold can affect a person with arthritis going out and about for the day. Someone with arthritis and the cold, the arthritis can flare up and the person cannot move any of the joints for the next 48 hours or however long it takes for the medicine to kick in. If the medicine even works. If they even take medicine. So, I just wanted to talk about my personal experience. It's been almost 10 holiday seasons. I've dealt with disability. The first 2 after I was diagnosed were incredibly hard because we were still going through all the tests of trying to find out what I could and could not eat, of what I was facing, what I was struggling with, what I was... So, I was basically like a ghost that year, those 2 years. I really didn't participate in the festivities with my family. I couldn't eat. I didn't really partake in any of our traditions. Like, I remember going to bed at like 7:30 on Christmas Eve, not because I was so excited to see Santa to see the gifts the next morning, but because all that day I had been fading in and out of consciousness because I was feeling so terrible. I was just in and out. Like, I didn't even know what time it was when I went to bed. People told me it was 7:30. So that was pretty hard. Not just on me, but on my family as well. Because it's not just the disabled person who gets affected when you're in a family unit with a newly diagnosed disabled person, because their chores can then fall on somebody else, or when they're sick but they need to do things, it falls on the entire family to help. Or when they're just completely out and lying on the couch, it's up to the family to help them. Who's ever home that day, who's ever able to get home earlier that day, that it's on the family. And it's a struggle, really, to be in a disabled family. Like, my parents and my sisters are so amazing about being in a disabled family, because basically all of us have some form of the same chronic illness, but my sister and I can be much, much more severe than everybody else at times. And that has affected our lives. For example, I am homeschooled. I have been homeschooled for a long time now. Like, I'd say like 4 years. Because I just was not able to go to school. So this leads into my next thing. When you're not able to do things like you once were, it's hard to feel happy about the holidays and excited. Because if you can't eat the food everybody is so excited that they get once a year, if you can't wrap presents for people, if you can't go out and buy presents for people, if you can't afford presents for people or your family, or even a big feast, that can be hard. And it's okay to feel down about the holidays, but it's worse when you feel down about the holidays and people can't understand why, because they've never been through it themselves. I love the holidays. When I'm having my good days, I can decorate, I can go gift shopping, I can cook, I can eat. On my bad days, I can't change out of my pajamas. So, like, that's hard. And for the able-bodied person who doesn't understand how I can flip from one to another so fast, it's like, why aren't you excited for the holidays? Or why don't you want to go to this event? And I'm like, because that's gonna take up my spoons for the next, that's gonna take up my spoons for the next week. That's going to take my spoons for the next month. Or I just don't have the ability to do that. My family were very fortunate, so we've never had to struggle with the fact, we've never had to really struggle with the expenses part of the holidays and disabilities, but I know there are people out there who have to choose between living with their disability and controlling and keeping it in control, or having a holiday festival that they can't be a part of. I know disabled moms can't celebrate with their kids or buy gifts for their kids because the medicine is so expensive. And yeah, I know the cases of that all around the US. I can guarantee you there's so many different cases of families not being able to afford to celebrate the holidays because of medicines or bills or utilities or food. But in this video I'm specifically talking about disabilities. Another reason the holiday season cannot be as great is the isolation and otherness that comes from being disabled and not really knowing any other disabled people who are disabled like you are. Because especially when you're homeschooled, you don't get out very much, at least in my experience. I am homeschooled. I do not go out every day after school to the mall to hang out with my friends, because I don't even know when my friends get out of school. I don't know when they get off practice or get out of band, because I'm not experiencing that with them. And it's pretty isolating because they're all like, oh, homeschooling must be so nice. You get to choose your wake-up time, you get to choose your bedtime, or when you go to bed, and you get to choose what you do all day besides work. And I'm like, no, that's not really how it is. No. Because homeschooling, when not for academic reasons, and when you don't have a social life, is pretty much the worst thing that can happen to you. I didn't have much of a social life before being homeschooled, and now I have nothing after becoming homeschooled, because where am I going to see people? At school? No, don't go to school. I really don't leave the house much because I don't have a job. The only time I really get out of the house is to go to the library, is to go on errands, but I don't see people then. I don't socialize with anybody. That's not my family. So it's really isolating to be disabled and homeschooled. But also, when you're disabled, sometimes you can't go to town events like the annual Christmas tree lighting, or the annual Christmas fair, or the holiday bazaar, because you're just not up to it. You miss your Girl Scout Christmas party or your work Christmas party because you do not have the spoons to go. Because if you would, you'd miss school or work, and you can't afford that. because work and school is more important than going out. And then there's the feeling when you're talking to people and let's say it's a holiday dinner. I'm talking to my cousins. My cousins are all older than me. When I say older, I mean like over 10 years older, because they're all either in grad school or out of grad school now. Some of them are in the army, and I don't see them at the holidays much anymore. Some of them have boyfriends or girlfriends that they go to the other families for the holidays, and some are married and have kids that they go to the other families for holidays. So I don't always see them. So when they talk about things, like, usually I can talk with them about family events or like the latest news in the family. But when they start to ask about, oh, what are you doing? Where are you going to school? How are you doing in school? Are you doing any extracurriculars? What do you plan to do in college? I cannot answer because I do not go to school. I do not have extracurriculars. My future has no plan right now. We're just going day by day, hoping to survive. Basically. Hoping that I stay as healthy as I can be and finish high school. And then there are the other questions that are well-intentioned but rude or invasive. And they ask, oh, you said, what's it like being home all the time? Or, you're on Facebook all the time, why aren't you working? And it's hard to explain because, you know, sometimes you want to tell people that what they're saying is rude and invasive, but you just don't have the energy to, because you're always telling people that that is not the right thing to say to somebody. Like, I can give you 10 questions not to say to a disabled person being homeschooled. Number 1 being, what do you do all day? Or number 2, why are you online so much? Number 3, what do you do for socializing? Just 3 of many examples. The thing is, yes, disabilities are hard, and people can be very ignorant about them, but we can still enjoy the holidays or not enjoy the holidays just like any other able-bodied person. We can dread the holidays, for that means family events. We can be excited for holidays because of the food. We're just people who struggle with something that you don't. That's what disabled people are. And disabled people have to be more aware of the limits than an able-bodied person. Let's say if a disabled person knows that they will start to violently get sick if they eat too much, they have to mind what they eat before, like, they have to mind, Like, if that's too rich for them, if they drink that, if that's going to upset their stomach even more and therefore make them eat less. See, it's really trying to find a solution to a never-ending puzzle. Because I can tell you, I can get sick after eating way too much. So I have to be more aware at Christmas dinner, on Christmas Eve, during Christmas Day when all the treats are out, that I don't overeat. Because if I overeat, I've lost my spoons for the next week. And I can't lose my spoons for the next week just because of a mistake. So I have to mind what I eat. But also I have to mind the kinds of food I eat because different kinds of food affect me differently. So which food can send me spiraling down if I have just a pinch too much. Just a pinch. And this all comes back to sometimes even when we know our limits, the holidays are awful because even when we adhere to these limits, the holidays knock everything out of whack. So it can mean even if we eat what we normally eat, we can still get sick from all the walking around, from all the exhaustion, from all the talking, from all the socializing, from all the working, from all the wrapping, and being out and about, and walking around, and traveling. Holidays can be quite disruptive to schedules and plans and school and homework and work. But they can also be quite disruptive to disabled people's bodies. I'm not saying that, but don't get me wrong. I'm not saying disabled people can't love the holidays, or I am trying to say, if you know somebody with an invisible illness, a chronic illness, a disability, try not to make them uncomfortable when you ask, but try to ask, what's the best thing for them when you're celebrating the holidays. Like, if they have troubles with certain foods, ask them what foods that they can eat so you can serve foods that they can eat at the holiday dinner. Or if you have a friend who's in a wheelchair, maybe not host your holiday party up 12 flights of stairs with no elevator. See, these are things that people think are obvious, yet they forget about sometimes. Like, I know sometimes when I go to holiday parties, people forget I don't eat this, or I can't eat this. And I don't have anything to eat because they said they'd supply me with something. So, obviously I'm a little disappointed and a little hurt because they forgot. But if they had asked me, like, oh, what can you eat so we can have something for you? I would have gladly told them what I can eat. So, what I'm trying to say is, have courtesy for your disabled friends around the holidays, and all year round, but especially around the holidays, because sometimes we don't have it great. If we have a stressing job and it gets even more stressful around the holidays, our bodies can react to that. I hope I was able to give some insight into my personal experience around the holiday season and maybe some other disabled people's holiday experience around the holiday season. But again, I cannot speak for every disabled person. We are all disabled differently. Even somebody with the same disability can be affected differently by the same disability. So just try to be as accommodating and as open to helping them enjoy it just like you enjoy it, as much as you would be open to, helping somebody with a broken leg up 12 flights of stairs. You know? Sometimes it's that little bit of kindness that can take a no spoon day and turn it from utterly despair into a tiny little bit of hope. Just a tiny bit of kindness can totally transform somebody's day. Even people who aren't disabled, kindness can transform anybody's day, really. Always be kind, if you can. If you can't, don't. No, I'm joking. Always be kind. Even when the person is not kind back. So, that was my video. I probably rambled and you probably don't understand what I'm saying, but that's okay. I will see you in the next Vlogmas video. Goodbye. Happy holidays. And go out and be kind and courteous and accommodating and loving to all. Whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, nothing, go out and be kind. That's all you need to do. So bye!